Hallå, hallå, hallå. Yep, this seems to work, right? Hi. I think it's time to start. I did some changes to the setup. So I'm going to try this. Look, I put up. So this is now my Emacs, and my terminal screen looks like this, and it actually shows the Twitch chat on screen because that makes it easier to see if people are talking about things while I talk about it on the stream, so it makes more sense if we can see the chat in the stream at the same time instead of the IRC chat. I don't know, I'm trying that out. So some things happened since the last few days. I did a stream 2 days ago. Well, the primary thing maybe is that the Quick Draft 17 came out just hours ago, well, this night. And my talk, DNS over HTTPS, has been accepted at FOSDEM 2019. Fun! So, some other things happened that we got some annoying bug reports. And by annoying I mean they are accurate and they are not exactly straightforward how to fix. So let me show you. So first we can start here then in the regular curl bug report issue tracker on GitHub. Gonna have to move the chat window so I can see it if someone says something. Blah blah blah. No, I shouldn't resize that. So we got a WinSSL bug. We have a memory leak on wolfSSL when used threaded. We have a weird unexpected net error 9 on netlink descriptor. I already commented on that because I didn't understand it. I didn't get any way to reproduce it. Right, and we have the digest authorization bug that seems to be not a bug. And maybe I can also show you another. We got some OSS fuzz bug reports, and I've been talking about the OSS fuzzing things the last few streams, and here we can see one of the fuzzing reports we got. It shows a timeout in the fuzzer for SMTP, and we actually got several of these similar things. They all report timeout problems with the fuzzing, and I am sure this is related to my timeout changes in the libcurl handling when doing disconnect. So the timeout, when you specify timeout for a transfer, that timeout period does no longer include the disconnect phase when using the ping pong protocols like SMTP is. So in an attempt to combat that particular bug, I filed a fun pull request in the curl fuzzer repository, and I made it like this. So maybe I should just zoom it a little bit. So the curl fuzzer is a separate repository, and it builds just a little fuzzer, a set of fuzzer binaries that the OSS fuzz project runs, and you can actually just clone this repository and follow the instructions, and you can run the well, a set of fuzzing things yourself. And that's what we do in the Travis build that do fuzzing. Right, we should do some live curl coding at curlup in Prague. But okay, But when I changed the timeout things, we got timeout problems with the curl fuzzer, and I proposed this change, which is actually so there's a 200 millisecond timeout for the regular tests. 200 milliseconds, that's not a lot. And I then proposed to add this extra line, which adds the timeout for the server response, and that uses full integer seconds. So the smallest timeout we can set there is 1 second. So it's either that, or I need to revert the timeout patch that I did before and sort of reconsider that. But I want to start by merging this and see what happens, if it solves anything. So let's go to the I have too many windows right now, but I should, right, it's this window, especially since I only show you a subset of the windows and I have more windows than this. So I have this repository with the curl fuzzer checked out, and I have a few branches there, of course. I also tried to turned out that the fuzzer is using slightly bad branches for OpenSSL and GHP2, so we should do that as well. Stricter timeout is a branch that I'm using. So I'm going to I have some aliases for the git commands. I'm going to merge this into the curl fuzzer. That's issue number 20. Let's pull request 23. And I'm going to then see if this fixes the problems good enough, then I might be happy with it. If not, then I think I need to reconsider the timeout fix that I did and maybe revert that and go back to the drawing board and do something else with the timeouts. Okay, so it'll take some time before I get some results back from that, because the curl fuzzing is, I think they basically update daily or something, and then they run a lot of fuzzing. So these bugs that I got back to the browser over here, so this is one of the bugs. I actually think I got one bug for each of the fuzzer wonder if I can list them correctly. No, I think I got one bug for each fuzzing executable that it runs, and we have one generic curl fuzzer binary, and we have one for SMTP, one for FTP, one for IMAP, one for POP3. So I think I got like 5, and they all got these timeouts. Well, I guess that is because our server or server mockup that we're using for fuzzing isn't doing the shutdown procedure correctly, which wasn't a problem before because we had this 200 millisecond timeout for the entire process. Oh well. So I think that due to that problem we got these things. If you're looking at the regular pull requests in curl, so we can see this pull request that I did the other day on the stream. I did the pull request wrong, so I've fixed it since, but it doesn't matter. I wanted to show you this, that it shows a red Travis build over here, and if we look at the Travis build, I open it in a new tab, we can see that the Travis builds are all fine except being the little red one here in the bottom, and it says 50 minutes, so it's been running the fuzzer for 50 minutes when Travis killed it. And that is of course a problem, because I mean, if it was a genuine problem that the build actually takes 50 minutes, then we would need to do something about it, and we might still need or want to do something about it. I think we want to optimize it so that it'll run faster, so that because I imagine that we risk running into this 50-minute limit soon enough anyway. But I wanted to show you, so there's a lot of goo on this. So here we can see all the fuzzing running, the output from the fuzzer, blah 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 blah, and then finally it stops here. And I think this is because several of these they don't time out as fast as they did before. So hopefully now, when OSS Fuzz gets updated with my new commit there with a better timeout, it will restart and it should not get timeouts and everything will be fine and dandy. And the good part of them, and when I did the merge, our next pull request on the regular jobs will use the updated one. So on Travis now they should be working fine, I think. And so when I fixed the curl-j thing the other day, I didn't remember the logic correctly, so I was reminded by K. Dudka here in the issue. So I had to fix the patch again. So the thing is, when we download a file using -J, and when using that we're acknowledging the content disposition header, then we actually refuse to overwrite a local file using that same name, just to avoid mistakes. Like if you download something using that header and you happen to have a local file using that name already, so it would be a bit surprising. So I adapted my patch for that, and I'm ready to merge that patch. And this is also the other build failure. That's the build failure I talked about before. I've talked with Mark about it, and he's supposed to restart that machine, so it should also go back to being fine soon. So this is in the Bagder curl overwrite on content disposition branch. So back to the curl directory. There's been no other merges upstream since I did this. Curl overwrite on content disposition, and it looks like this. Fixes 3380 and it closes 3381. And I should also credit the reporter for this. Reported by. And a final check. I'd actually removed the argument now from that function, the tool create output file function, because it turned out that no caller was using any other option or any other flags than just false. Okay, let's do it. Merge. And I like rebasing it. And now it's there. Oh, right. I have another interesting thing. This the other bug that I fixed on the stream for embed TLS, it also turned out to be incomplete. So let's push this first. Badoom. And when done, I'm going to remove my local branch because it's annoying to have a lot of local branches left. And when I've done that, here we can see the pull request, and there it closed. Delete branch from there as well. Okay, And then I just wanted to go back to the embed TLS thing. Oh, we didn't reopen it. Where is it? Well, there it is. I did reopen it. Okay, so he wanted to okay, I'm reading this. So he has a good test case done. So he, in my case, I better rebuild my curl to use embed TLS again, so that I can rebuild and see that things work as before. Okay, so maybe we'll do like this. First, I'll check out new branch, embed TLS, cn check again. Because why do it correctly from the beginning when you can do it many times? And let's revert that one first. And then we're back to how it used to look. And he suggests this approach, which seems fine, that we start out, if we don't want to verify the host name, we remove any such errors. Ignore hostname errors like this. Is disabled. And then we remove that error, and otherwise ill. That's a pretty neat way of doing it, and apparently that works for him, so maybe it should work better then. So let's do it like this. Embed TLS follow up verify host fix from I can do it like this, I think. I think I'll just make sure that okay, let's do it like this. Sometimes it is just easier to make the patch in the person's name, but right now I don't have his email address, so I better just do it like this. We can just as well do else in there, and we can remove the could all be else's. There, and ret is always something, since otherwise it wouldn't go into this function. Okay. Yeah, this should do it. Let's just make sure that I didn't mess anything up royally. I did get a compiler warning. Is deprecated. Okay, so I have, in the meantime, I think I've updated the library. So now I get a deprecation warning. Okay, maybe I did get it before. It's a little bit annoying. Yeah, we're using old crappy legacy algorithms because we support old protocols like NTLM and stuff. They need those old things, so it's not that easy to just remove. So let's just keep it. And I should again then say fixes 3376 because we're fixing it again. Follow up, verify host fix from blah blah blah. Yeps. So maybe this will work. So we're pushing that and making a pull request out of it. Let's mark it as an SSL TLS pull request. Kadoom. And let's comment something. Nice. Okay. Starting off good this morning. That's another pull request. And where were we? We could just have a bunch of different tabs open here. I can just close some of them off. I didn't really get to the quick and HTTP3 stuff the other day. Another TLS thing, yes, or possibly the same TLS thing because I didn't apparently fix it correctly the other day. But I have other TLS things too. There are 2 other TLS bugs. And I can show you the most... Well, I didn't read this yet. 1 hour ago. 8 hours ago. It's still morning here. I mean, the sun has barely risen here yet. It's 8:53. It's getting a little lighter outside. Okay, so let's dig into this. Specifying encryption algorithms with S-channel. The call to acquire credentials handles fails, and this is really stuff that it's not really my backyard, but sure. Acquire credentials handle. Operating systems 7, 8, 10 and server 2012. I haven't tried others. I did this. Okie dokie. Okay, I can possibly set the Windows tag too, because this is a Windows specific bug. So this ciphers option, it's an interesting option because it specifies which ciphers you are okay with using in the TLS handshake, and it's very SSL backend specific. So depending on which particular backend you're using, you can specify them using different names, which is slightly annoying and difficult to for users, but still a fact. So, okay, I have those let's start out with the documentation. is that the right way of using? I think they're documented in this file, ciphers, OpenSSL. This is not OpenSSL, it's not NSS, and it's not GSKit, and it's not WolfSSL, it's WinSSL. We have this also confusing. We actually use both WinSSL and S-channel for the backend names. The source code, I think, call it WinSSL. Oh well, it's the native Windows TLS backend, and it uses these names. They are defined by, and here they are. And looking in his bug reports, he's using those colon separated. Should they be like that? How do we know? Where are the ciphers? Ciphers list, if there is a cipher list. Then it calls set SSL ciphers. Get alg by ID by name. Oh wow, 45. Okay, so there are apparently 45 of them. Okay. Bad indentation. Whew. What does it do? Start cur. So it tries to do figure out if it's a number. Oh, so you can specify it by number as well. And then it converts the get alg. And that's the one right up here. Yep. Yeah. Okay. This is going to be difficult for me to test or verify without actually running it on Windows or debugging it Windows. Okay, thank you for that lovely feedback. I think I will mark this as help needed or help wanted even, because I can't really do this, at least not now. I need to fire up some, if I'm going to do it, I need to fire up some VM somewhere and dig into the Windows side of things. Okay, so this is an interesting other bug. Okay, I guess this is why I shouldn't show the chat in the video stream, because there will be some person just showing up like this. Never mind, ignore that person. Back. So here's a WolfSSL backend user that gets an interesting I am Daniel, yes. So he's using boost thread string arrow send blah blah blah, and this send vk message is using curl, and it uses it. It does a curl in it, and it does a curl cleanup in the end, and he gets a lot of oh, sorry, I'm showing you the wrong window. So this is a bug 3387. So it's a wolfSSL using boost thread in the top, and it uses form post, uses curl init in the top, cleanup in the end, sends to some URL somewhere, and he says he gets this list of lovely Valgrind output. So okay, I think first we start out with some possibly lost. This is boost thread, so I don't care about that. And this is claimed to be definitely lost, and we can see. I mean, this is libcurl. This is libcurl call, and then it says wolfSSL connect, and it loses the data in there. So it actually looks like a wolfSSL. It doesn't say which wolfSSL version, right? It does. 348. And if I recall my wolfSSL, that's an old version. wolfSSL releases 3.15.5 leak. Okay, that was just okay. I should maybe it was I couldn't really search for it. So this looks like it's a wolfSSL leak, so I'm going to actually just looking at the code. In the wolfSSL case, wolfSSL was named SSL before, and therefore our code is called SSL. It's actually SSL still exists, and they have the same API more or less. So there's some ifdefs in there that uses the different setups. So in this, the wolfSSL connect is interesting because it's a define. It's actually called SSL connect in our code, and that makes it transparent, and so it actually works for both the SSL library and the wolfSSL library, but there's just a define in their header files. So that's the function that's claimed to be leaking memory. I suppose I could maybe write a little example that uses wolfSSL threaded and see what Valgrind says about it. If I really want to, maybe I should. I mean, why not? So I can usually then when I build a little example, I have a debug directory, and here and it says wolfSSL in the configure output. So it built with it detected wolfSSL, and when I build it, it'll build with wolfSSL support. Right, and then I have this directory here full of fun test files. Let's see, I have it threaded. Okay, since we have this 10, I think we have an example, docs examples 10 at a time. Isn't that? No, that's not threaded, right? No. Threaded SSL. pthreads and fetches 4 remote files at once over HTTPS. I'm copying the example into my debug directory. And now it's probably gonna fail to link because I don't have the correct linker options in my makefile. Sure I did. It says wolfSSL here. Okay, so LDD debug it is the name of my new SSL. It's a little bit hard to see if this does the right thing. What happens if I run it? Takes a long time. It worked. Maybe I should make sure that the example tells us which TLS backend it uses, and then we do it like this. I believe, no, sorry, include is version info is a good little good function to use. It's called version curl version info data info. So in our example we do info curl version info, and I think right, it's supposed to tell them which version we're using, and we're using this version, and we assume it works. TLS backend just as SSL version. Right. Now it comes back to me that we really don't show this very good, but okay, let's try it that way. Did you mean? Oh, as usual, I can't type. Yep, we saw that just a quick pass. If I scroll up, it says wolfSSL 3.14.0, so it's at least and now I'm running it with Valgrind. Kaboom. Indirectly lost, definitely lost. That's a lot of data. That's not good. Leak check full. Oh. Yikes. Cold coffee. Okay. Yeah. So I got a lot more leaks than he did, right? So leaks.txt. leaks. So we can see here it comes from this SIA-SSL.c 489. Yep, that's the function call I spoke about. And it suggests that it leaks a lot of memory. I wonder if I'm supposed to do something special with wolfSSL when using it in a multi-threaded way. Because if we don't use it multi-threaded, built with wolfSSL, HTTPS example.com, well-grained. What happens then? Boop. Definitely lost. Nothing. So what can we learn from this? Back to the browser, we're going. 640 pages. Portability, callbacks, blah blah blah, debugging. Embedded devices. Thread. We're not building it single-threaded. Thread safety. Yeah, I think we're doing exactly that as it says. We don't. Yep. Yeah, the coffee turned cold, but yeah. I need another coffee in a while, but let's do this first. So, okay, memory leaks with wolfSSL, and it's a genuine report. I can reproduce it. I have a lot of leaks. Yes. So sorry, wrong one. Here it is. So it says definitely lost 1.7 megabytes. That's a lot of data. I think wait. It doesn't do any global cleanup here, so maybe that will make a difference. Will it? it didn't. And in every column, make it easy init, easy cleanup. And I'm getting a lot of stupid URLs. I wonder, should remove those. I don't want to teach anyone to do that. Really no difference, but the smaller the better, because now I have a really tiny example. And since I'm not using OpenSSL, I can remove that code. And we're not using GNU-TLS, I can remove that code. Oops, use OpenSSL. No, we don't. Okay. Removing, removing, removing. And this is just an example that remove. Well, I'm making it as small as possible so that I can post the example somewhere. Possibly with the init locks. Right, I removed those. So let's remove the calls to them, those functions. So I want to make an example or a reproducible code blob that I can post in the tracker, or if I'm going to contact the wolfSSL guys and ask them about it, it's good to have a... There it is. So now I'm just going to try if I do num one thread, as it's still... Then I only... But it still makes it pthread create and a pthread join, so that can be interesting. The same amount of bytes even. That's fun if num is larger than 1. Pull one URL. Right, but it's... No leak. So it has to do with the creation of threads. So there needs to be some more cleanup for wolfSSL. Interesting. So I'm switching over to the browser here. So I can reproduce when using threads. I can reproduce as well using... Some more cleanups for wolfSSL. and then I'm going to attach my code. That's the thread. I did call it like that, didn't I? Yes, I did. And we don't support that type. I hate this. So I need to, if I just wolf ssl.c.txt, try again. What? Sorry, I messed up my little. I'll just make a version of it with a TXT extension. Where is it? There. Oh, right, you don't see my open dialog. So I'm attaching. Here's a little piece. It's not TLS, it's Wolf SSL. And here's a little bit. Comment. Badoomp. And I'm going to this and go over to the Wolf SSL issues. And I'm going to file a new issue with Wolf SSL. Memory leak when used threaded. When we use okay, so what is it I want to say? Hi. When we build curl to use Wolf SSL for HTTPS, and we these leaks are not there when we don't use any threads. And then I could possibly help them by linking to our code. VTLS. No, right, it's SIA SSL, and it's online. What did I say? What's called SSL Connect. That's the. And I want to do a permalink. Copy permalink. Back to the issue. There are no leaks. These leaks are not there when we don't use it. The leaks or seem to origin from the Wolf SSL connect call like that we call here. This issue was filed in the curl. Bug tracker as is there a particular cleanup method we should use that we currently don't? For thread I mean, it could be for thread specific storage something, but I guess they're actually just no, this actually reads MX Reds on my keyboard. I guess you don't hear them as much because I'm not sure exactly what my mic here on my headset. But they're not that noisy actually. My keyboard, the keys on my keyboard. I think it's a pretty good keyboard. I like it. So okay, and by the way, if you want to, I have my keyboard. I blogged about it somewhere. Well, I know where. It's a Funk keyboard. What's its name? Yep, it's a Funk KB 460. This is how it looks like, and I wrote about it over here. So yeah, if you want to read about it, that's my keyboard. Blah blah blah. I actually added some details on the stream webpage on Twitch about my environment and hardware and stuff, since a lot of people have asked for it. Basically every time I've been streaming, people ask me about what Linux desktop is this and what OS is it and whatever. So the details are there now, so you can actually go there and see it. Okay, you hear the keyboard. Yeah, but that's good. Then you're here. Then you can actually know that I'm actually doing something and just not pretending. So blah 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 blah. Is that a fine enough bug report for them? Memory leak when used threaded. I see this error with Wolf SSL 3.14.0 on Debian Linux. Maybe I should go back and attach my oh well, he has his I could go back and just edit mine, and here's I'm just going to see then, did I save a good leak report? I did. I'm going to upload that one. So I'm going to attach, and here's here's how my leaks appeared. Pip, and there leaks.txt. There, bam. Over to the issue, and I'm submitting it. Boom. Right, and it mentioned the reference over here, so the reporter can see it. And okay, let's leave it like that for now. Okay, and we're at 1 hour of streaming, and we haven't managed much yet. Well, I haven't. Okay, memory leak, WinSSL. I didn't check memory leak, and this is a fun bug. I don't mean to be disrespectful to whoever tries to communicate, but this bug didn't make a lot of sense to me. It basically says that there's an error sometimes, but it can't reproduce it, and there's no backtrace. And yeah, unexpected error 9 on netlink descriptor. I have no idea what that means, so I'm just going to leave it for a while, and hopefully the person will come back and fill in some more information. I think this is an interesting bug because it's the person reported that we don't send the correct HTTP headers when asked for using digest authentication, HTTP digest, and it turns out that he's not responding properly. His web server is not responding with the correct digest headers, so I don't see any problem here, really. So it makes me wonder what the person is actually up to. What exactly is this? Yeah, I'm going to just leave that for a while longer and see what he comes back with. I have this interesting. Let's hit this. Here's a regression on negotiate, another HTTP authentication method. One that I don't like because I'm not that into this. But okay, blah blah blah. Here's a bug report, and he was an excellent bug reporter. So he bisected the problem, figured out the exact commit over here, which is exactly the same commit that I suspected just before he did the bisect. So so yeah, and this exact commit was made in a pull request over here, and I reopened the pull request again, since this obviously it actually caused two different regressions, or maybe they're similar regressions, but at least regressions. And I asked the author then of the pull request 14 hours ago if he has any thoughts about this, and he hasn't responded. I don't know where on the globe he is, so maybe he's just asleep or away or whatever. But do not close connection until. So this is the very simple little patch that caused the regression. To fix the HTTP post using authenticate. Okie dokie, so authentications, or really these multi-pass authentications, they can be really tricky to keep track of or understand and just follow. And negotiate might be one of the more tricky ones, together with NTLM, I would say, but negotiate is almost like NTLM in many ways, so it's similarly tricky. And NTLM is tricky because it's authenticating connections and not requests, which is otherwise the typical, or that's how HTTP authentication is supposed to work. So it is always a bit sensitive to change these things. For negotiating and TLM, they're fragile areas. And apparently this was, I guess, proven to be fragile since it broke at least 2 use cases. If the state is different than 0. Done, done, done. There's the negotiate call. That's for output negotiate, right? So I need to I guess it's the problem because it says the done in the input negotiator, not the output. Or is it? Trying to understand what the point of this change was. Really, I need to so the authentication logic is really separated into the input handling and the output handling. So input is when we read headers for the authentication, and output when we send back headers for the next request. So I just need to I understand that this is really interesting to watch, but still I need to auth status, auth headers. Done. Basic. I really don't like how this is assuming things about the if the status is different than 0 and we encountered no errors, it means we have to continue. No, the stream chat is not in an Emacs window. The chat you're seeing right now on screen is it's actually just a pop-out window from the browser. So it's actually just a tiny Firefox window with some of the edges cut off. I think I'm going to revert this fix, this 3275. It's a fresh thing, and yeah, I'm going to revert it, and I'm going to read up on this bug first, since it references a Red Hat bug. Right, it wasn't that. It's not even clear if this uses Negotiate or not, but I guess it does. It's always tricky when we get bug reports or sort of reports on other tools and stuff that uses curl like this, the fed package thing in Fedora. It's hard to tell what it's doing. Seems unlikely that it would use Negotiate. So let's Google it. Package maintenance guide. mostly a subclass of the RPKG project. Oh man. I better not go there. That seems like a rat hole to get stuck in. So, revert, back out into this. That uploads files to Fedora look aside cache used by Fedora packages. Well, okay, that seems fine, but it's really hard when I can't reproduce either of these problems. I just have the code to read. And in this case, a really small patch, and this really small patch caused a problem, even though I think the little small patch looks fine. Seems to be legit. I think it is better to revert this and work on making the I'm adding a comment to I presume that tool is used. Is the lack of test cases in our suite negotiate test cases. I can't reproduce either this and I can't reproduce blah blah blah. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna wait a little longer then. So 15 hours ago I asked the reporter, so maybe I'll wait another 10, so it's a day at least until and then see what I do. I'll probably revert that, and so that would fix that bug. And I've committed a thing there to fix that one, blah blah blah. This bug, that's from Brad Spencer. He says he might be able to work on it early January, so I think that might come a fix from that. I saw Jay working on that before. And here's this bug again. I mentioned it before. It's now 12 days and no additional info. Blah 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 blah. Pull requests. That's the one I did. SMB fix incorrect path in request if connection reused. Here's me messing things up. well, not in this pull request, but I did this commit that apparently broke things. I remember this bug fix that I did, as it says detected by OSS-fuzz, so it was a memory leak that obviously could happen. It was a bit hairy to fix, so I'm not completely surprised that he needed to fix it, but let's see what test cases that broke. Is it just the fuzzer? It's just the fuzzer, and the fuzzer is the timeout thing that I fixed earlier in the stream today. So let's leave that. I'm going to consider it fine. SMB, we have a few test cases that are testing SMB, so I'm pretty sure then about this. So let's do this. So first time contributor, excellent. I'm going to first mark it as approve. Boom. And then I usually just copy the command line because it makes things easier. And then I'm going to the terminal. This is the patch, and he has a correct email address set up and everything. It closes 3388. Looking good. And a first time contributor too. An excellent patch for a first time contributor, I would say. There it is. And then I'm going to do this. Thanks. And it closes. Boom. Pull request fixed. And the pull request is then announced in the IRC channel. It is updated in the GitHub repository, and is actually announced on Twitter too. There's a curl commits user on Twitter that you can follow if you want to follow curl pushes real time. Okay, back to the pull request. I did this the other day. So we support HTTP 0.9, and I'm going to make that not enabled by default. The only question is if I'm going to change the default now and require an option to get HTTP 0.9 support, or if I'm going to add it as a deprecated feature and keep it around for a while until we remove it. And you know, basically I would say that historically it has been better to announce it first for a while so that people can get used to it and they can protest, even if protests rarely actually happen or are helpful. But maybe I will then modify my patch to maintain the old behavior, support the new option, and when I change the behavior later on, the option will just keep on working and everything will be fine. So that is what I'll do. So I'll go back to the patch. It's here. There it is. And it's one. No, I had to. Okay, first let's rebase it. Lots of fix-ups. I can just merge, or I can squash all those into one single huge patch. looking like this. Boom. It's actually this big because of the, well, all sorts of different changes. It's not really changes, it's not little libcurl changes that are this big, they are really tiny. So if I want to maintain the old behavior but support the option, what do I do? I need to first make sure that the old behavior is maintained, and then I have this actually I think we have now it struck me. I'm gonna make it's also different if I'm going to make the library support it or maintain it, the behavior and the command line tool, but I guess I need to make both still supported by default and then change the default in 6 months time. So basically what I mean is we have this document called deprecate that documents how we plan to deprecate things going forward. Right now it mentions two things, HTTP pipelining and the global DNS cache function. So if I would add another thing, it would be deprecate HTTP 0.9. And why would we deprecate HTTP 0.9? Supporting this is non-obvious and might even come as a surprise to some users, potentially even being a security risk in some cases. State curl 7.64.0 introduces options to enable support of this protocol version. The default remains supported for now. It will be switched to disabled by default in 6 months. Basically because we use 6 months time periods for all our deprecation things, so in 6 months time, when is that? It's not in that document. So here are some release dates for coming releases. So if we fast forward 6 months, it's mid-December now, mid-June, so it's going to be switched by default in the July release. Removal. The support for HTTP 0.9 will be switched to disabled by default in the July release. And if we bump the version number every time, it'll be 64, 65, 66, 67. Possibly called curl 7.67.0. Okay, that's then the intent. Wait, did I? mess up the... No, I didn't. Okay, that's the intent. Where I'm going to deprecate the use or the support for HTTP 0.9 by default by the summer, July, let's spell it out, July 2019. Oh, right, exactly, the 6 months. It's a good question if that is 6 months after the 620. Maybe it should be 6 months after this 64 release, and the 64 release is in February. So February plus 6 months, that's August. So and there's no release in August. It's going to be a release in September. And I actually have a Google Calendar with the planned releases, since we know the release dates, since we're doing them every 8 weeks, right? So I know that there's going to be a release on September 18. Well, if we stick to the schedule, that is, and we usually do that. So let's call it September 2019 release, and then that might be 68. I have a sort of inflation in version numbers, so at some point in time I have to do something about the version numbers. My plan is actually to not allow the number to go above 99, because I think a lot of users will get confused if we go to 7.100 instead of something else. So ideally I figure out a way how to go to version 8 before this number hits 100. So that's in 32 releases. 32 releases, if we do 6 every year, that's like 5 years off. So within 5 years, figure out a good way to bump to version 8. Yeah, should be doable. Back to actually fixing the issue then. So I want the default to be allowed, and I want the right, I need to, when creating the curl easy handle, it should actually just enable it by default. There's a curl open function. Here it is. That's the one that creates an easy handle, and it sets up some default things. Like here are some init user defined. That's the function I wanted. It sets default fields for the easy handle. So I can just add this. So I can do set, and it's called HTTP 0.9 allowed true. And then the default will be true. So it allows HTTP 0.9 responses by default. It's okay. That is, I'm just going to make sure that I can still build then. And I need to make sure that the command line tool that uses in this case I made well, the previous approach I made sure that if we specify the option allow this, then we allow it. So yeah, that's fine actually, because if that option is used, we tell libcurl allow this, and that is fine. And even if it's allowed originally anyway, this makes sure that the option is there, is supported, and if used, it'll just transparently work even if we switch off the default in the future. I think this is okay. I'm just going to see what we documented. since curl will otherwise deny continuing if the response is no. That's not true. Let's call it like this instead. A future curl version will deny continuing unless this option is used. Okay, and I have I also need to update the libcolor option. See what that says. Default option added in 7.64 present along with HTTP. So I should what should I do? I should specify that default curl then allows responses by default. It a future curl version will stop supporting HTTP 0.9 responses by default and require this option set. Well, a weird way of phrasing it. A future curl version will require this option to be set to allow HTTP 0.9 responses through responses. A future curl version will require this option to be set to allow HTTP 0.9 responses. Cut off the through protocols HTTP added in present along with availability. Okay. So I changed then the question is done. And when I did this change on the stream the other day, I grepped for tests that already were existed with 0.9, but I grepped in the wrong directory, so I didn't spot the one that actually existed, so I didn't. So we had a bunch of other tests already that tested HTTP 0.9 that I broke when I didn't update them, but I updated them afterwards. So now I can run the HTTP 0.9 tests like this. Here are all tests tagged for 0.9. And it failed. Right, because that test was written the other way around. So it was supposed to fail. Aha, because now we can, this one we can say no HTTP 0.9 to switch it off. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that this one always sets it should set it enabled or disabled depending on what we want it to be. There's no in between, or maybe we should leave it if we don't set it at all? Should we? Should we not? No. Let's try it like this. $11.72. Not present. It's not? It is present. Oh, right. I am okay. So I didn't remake. Now it is there. Still says this is still now using the Wolf SSL build, and it uses threaded resolver, but I don't think that is reason for it to fail. The given option can't be reversed with a no prefix. That's a good reason for a failure. Aha! I did it wrong. I think it's supposed to be done differently. It's not arg none, it's supposed to be arg bool. I wonder if I should rename the option slightly. Should I? Should I? Are you good with NVIDIA things? That seems like a stretch. No, I don't know NVIDIA at all. Basically. Well, I know what it is. I stick to internet protocols. Okay, so can I switch it off now? Maybe. Boom. I could. So now I can switch off HTTP 0.9 support by using the option, and let's try all the HTTP 0.9 test cases again so that I didn't break anything else by doing that. It still says that still says test 1172 not present. But why? What did I break to make it say that? That's not seen that problem before. So I have 6 test cases with HTTP 0.9 and they all did okay. And what am I here? Then this is not Vim at all. You're looking at Emacs. And again, what you're seeing on the screen is actually just a bunch of windows put together in the stream. So they're actually not. They don't look like this on my screen. They look like this on the stream. So I have a slightly different layout. So where it has this, maybe I should just I'll just merge everything into one huge commit. Bang. Now 386 insertions, 59 deletions. And I'm going to have my favorite default configure setup that uses OpenSS. Well, it actually builds with a bunch of different TLS libraries at the same time. I think it builds with most options that I have impossible, so it's a good thing, good default build to try. And then we build a test again. And what did we learn more in the bug? Pull request. Didn't learn anything. Well, we learned that the fuzzer hit the time limit, but I think I fixed that. So tests, building, and running test 1172. I wonder, now I added another I added another set opt done by default by the tool, which makes some things, I don't know, I mean, if you're watching this, how used you are to fun curl command line options, but the --libcurl option is one of my personal favorites, and it outputs a libcurl program depending on what options you're using on the command line, and it outputs an libcurl code depending on things. So I imagine that it will output this now in the code, and I have some test cases for it, so I think it'll break some test cases for the --libcurl. I wonder if I have that keyword set. I do, like test 1400 --libcurl. Let's stop those tests, and I used -n to switch off Valgrind in the test, just because it makes the tests much faster. Okay, they were happy. So let's I force push this then, since I updated it, I rebased it, I'm on it again. I'll switch over to the browser. Here's the pull request. The default is now kept as before, but added options to explicitly allow it, and to not allowed. And English is now kept as before. Okay. We're approaching 2 hours of streaming. But okay, that was the pull request for the HTTP 0.9. Did I do any other pull requests recently? Well, I was still working on the quick one, but I'm going to not do the quick one on the stream because I haven't really gotten any further with that since I talked about it last time. And here's that pull request now. Sorry, I was going to look at this. So a lot of build bots completing. Oh, the Solaris 10 one is alive again. Build started. Let's see how the Travis. I mean, sometimes I'm just reading all these. I can't keep them apart. So I wanted to see the Travis ones because the Travis ones are usually the ones that are most important, but none of them have. They're all waiting. So let's skip them there. The issues there. Oh, right. I could show you some other things that I've been doing. Well, if I go to my profile and then we can go to HTTP2 explained, because I had some fun. You know, HTTP2 explained is my document for explaining HTTP2. So I got a lot of bugs, bug reports on that one. Pull request. Do I have any pull requests? I have open October right there on Turkish. I'm going to leave the Turkish ones to the Turkish translator. So okay, HTTP2 explained. Actually, I mean, I've written several different Markdown-based books / documents, and HTTP2 explained is just it's a set of Markdown files, so it's actually very easy to work with. It's easy to update, and English part 10. And it's easy for people to contribute updates too, so it's actually a pretty neat environment to do these things in. Speedy support was removed. Speedy support was removed in Chrome in favor of HTTP2. Yes, so I'm switching to that repository. Explained, blah blah blah, and let's see, check in. Fixes 193 part 10 English typo. Oh, sorry, you didn't see that commit message, but it doesn't matter. Part 8 was the other one. Next bug report, and it said, all right, there are, I mean, this book, the contents here are from, well, started it early 2014, I think, so it's it's difficult sometimes to make up my mind about how, if the contents should cover the state of how it was when I wrote it, or if it should cover the state of how things are today. So it says soon. There are several that are likely to offer HTTP software to HTTP soon. That, yeah. So will HTTP2 become widely adopted? It says. I mean, that's difficult. All through 2015, the amount of HTTP traffic. has been increasing. Maybe I should just state somewhere like this. This section was written in 2015 and shows the state of affairs back then. Things have moved and developed significantly since. I think I'm going to leave it like that because it's not going to be fixes 192 part 8 EN. Explain that the headphones section is from 2015. Let's push. I appreciate this bug report on part 11 because it says that I work for Mozilla, which I do not. I actually also updated the stream page. I mean the front page for my channel on Twitch to mention this because so many of you have asked me about that. So back to this part 11. Part 1, sorry. It's not 11, part 1. So it says I work for Mozilla. My name is Daniel Stenberg. I don't work for Mozilla. But I've been working with open source and networking for over 20 years in numerous projects. I've been involved blah blah blah. Yeah, so that seems correct now. So I part 1 EN. I do not work for Mozilla anymore. Fixes 189. There was quite a number of bugs. Well, some of them are really old. I think, right, 2015, April. I've been slacking here, I can tell. Should really go through these. Regarding a speedy NPN removal in Chrome. Okay, part 8, which I should rephrase. Part 8, speedy, 51. Well, they were too. Would finally be removed in Chrome 51. In February 2016, they announced that speed in NPN would finally be removed in Chrome. And they ultimately were. But yeah. And so writing a book out loud in the stream on the internet. Chrome 51 shipped without speedy and npm support. Since Chrome 51 it has shipped. Okay, let's do it like that. Part 8 English mentioned that Chrome 51 also shipped as claimed without me. Fixes 190. Jesus, I'm typing really crappy. I like to push them, since then it'll close them here on GitHub immediately. Bam. Support in browsers update. There, okay. Did I not clarify that in part 8? There are several big browsers behind the roller. They will ship. All right, but yes, I will refer to this. I think I had some other bug reports on everything curl, which is another bug. No bugs. Bug free. And HTTP 3 explained. There are some issues there, but there are, well, 2 of mine and 1 on Japanese. Oh, no, right. Here we can see the there's a French translation for HTTP 3 explained. So that's a huge one. I wanna squash and merge. Boom. So that is, as you can see, I use the browser to merge when it's not the curl repository, but in the book repositories I think it's less of a problem. So I'm going to HTTP 3 explained. What? Right, I was in a discussion about how to write. There's a, where was that? Yeah, there was one issue left there, I think, or whatever happened to that. Yeah, it was one pull request left. I'll just ignore my change for now, and I'm going to update this alias that updates from there. French is a brand new translation for HTTP 3 explained. If you're a French person, get it, read it, and submit your pull request or issues if you find any problems. Also, this guy who did the French translation, he has added rebase and merge, confirm rebase and merge. So now he also has his name as the main translator for French. That's the pull request I'm debating, the sentence here in the Y ossifications section, and I'm not quite in agreement with him, so I'm going to ponder upon that a little bit more. And there's a document here that says how to translate, and it lists the translators, the Chinese, the Japanese, and the French. And by having the translators in there, it's easier to ask for reviews and comments when others submit bug reports. I mean, it's because it's interesting to write a book that is translated into really a lot of foreign languages, because when I get bug reports on those translations, it's I mean, I don't know them. I need the help from the translators to make sure that the translations are fine, that the content actually is readable, and so on. So let's see, can we now view the document in French? Removing some tabs here. HTTP3 explained is here. Oh, right, I need to update my little thing that shows these different languages on the page. So I can go and download the PDF or read it. Language, English, Français. So if I click read. Nope, it's not there yet. So this is the Git book thing. Oh, okay, I'm not signed in. That's why it doesn't show me my admin interface. The Français, the PDF. Oh, well, the French PDF is there. So I guess the web thing is just a little bit behind. That's fine. I'm not sure exactly how it caches stuff, so it should show up there. I will what Firefox add-ons am I using? I'm not using that many add-ons. Well, you can see them up in the corner, some of them. What's most notable is possibly uBlock Origin and HTTPS Everywhere. You can see them there. And I run this Firefox test pilot, but I don't think I'm actually testing anything. That's a Mozilla add-on for running experimental add-ons, sort of, but I don't think I run any experimental add-ons right now. I can actually probably show you the full list. So I like the container ones. I use the HTTPS Everywhere. I'm not sure I actually need it anymore. Most things are HTTPS now. uBlock Origin is fine to block crap. Well, and then these two disabled ones. And that's about it. Nothing fancy. This is the Google surveillance detector that I used the other day on the stream. It's really annoying, but it shows when sites are using Google services, which quite a lot of sites do. Okay, so I'm going to ignore that little pull request for now. No French. Where's the French? Did something go wrong? So maybe I should sign in to Gitbook on a web page that you can see. Maybe. Sign in. Updates. Yeah, that's fine. 10:35. That's 5 minutes ago. It's traffic. Sorry, we encountered I better not. Seems fine. It's probably just slow. There it is in French. So it's accessible. It's not updated there yet. So I should update my page this page that lists these different languages. And I should tweet about it, but I'll do that in a second. Someone else will get the chance to do it before me. But yeah, maybe we're in 2 hours 10 minutes. Maybe I'm done for now, for the moment. So any questions, any requests, any bug fixes I should get to that I didn't, or whatever? Now is a good time. Oh, sorry, and I noticed that again my browser went away. There it is. So the quick drafts that came out today, the draft 17 for all the quick drafts. Well, I think there are 4 or 5 of them. Actually, was the first draft that mentioned HTTP 3 by name. So now there is an official IETF draft specifying HTTP 3. And HTTP 3 is done over quick, as I mentioned before. And we're still quite far away from supporting it. There's an interim meeting for the quick team. When is that? It's soon. Is it? Yeah, in a few weeks. It's in the beginning of the new year. I can't find it right now, but it doesn't matter. And the discussion is how exactly the interop is going to be, the HTTP wise one. So far, I mean, up until now, most of the interop has been done with HTTP 0.9, which is kind of interesting since we've been discussing HTTP 0.9 in Curl for a while now. So they have done HTTP 0.9 over quick for interop, since HTTP 3, the HTTP 3 spec has been sort of lagging behind. But now the discussion is, everyone going to do the interop tests on HTTP 3 or HTTP 0.9 over quick? I think HTTP 3 will be widely used eventually. I think it'll take some time, but I think it'll be widely used by at least some of the large players, since I'm pretty sure that we will see it implemented by, I mean, Google and Facebook. And Google and Facebook, that's pretty much half internet traffic many days. So, and the other larger players will also be fairly early on with its support. So even I think that HTTP 3 might take a longer time than HTTP 2 to actually get adopted, sort of by the slightly smaller players. And I think there are reasons why smaller players will delay HTTP 3 deployments, just because you won't see the same obvious benefits that you did. Going from 1 to 2, you could basically get instant performance for no extra cost really, but going from 2 to 3 is going to be a completely different scenario. It's going to introduce a different set of challenges and problems. So and possibly not the same gains that you saw before. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time ahead of us to see where that goes. And I haven't had a refill for a while, so I'm going to just head downstairs and get a coffee refill. You think if there's a bug or two to fix, and I'm going to also just do that as well. So hang on for a few minutes and you can watch my text screen in the meantime. Back. So it struck me that I could mention a little about since we've well, not only we've, but a lot of you have talked about. Since when I mentioned Quake in HTTP 3, everyone starts talking about, well, will it be deployed? What happens? Is it good? Is it bad? Then I just wanted to mention maybe a little bit that I am going to talk about HTTP 3 in a few different places coming up. Oh well, primarily if you're in Stockholm, I'm going to talk about HTTP 3 on January 22nd. So come and meet me and listen to me, and we can have a chat about HTTP 3 and then HTTP in general then. And I'm going to talk about HTTP 3, of course, at CurlApp in Prague at the end of March, which is going to be an awesome curl meeting. Well, there's a symposium on the future of FTP first on the Friday, and then we're going to have CurlApp on the Saturday and Sunday at that time in the spring. And CurlApp is awesome for everyone who's into curl and wants to learn more and work with more and meet curl people and talk internet protocols for a whole weekend. It's great. And then as I mentioned before, I'm going to do a presentation about DNS over HTTPS at FOSDEM as well, which I know it has also been the topic has attracted quite a large interest by people. I could mention that I also submitted a proposal to talk about HTTP3 at FOSDEM in the Mozilla dev room, but they haven't well, accepted or declined my talk yet. I'm not sure when they will do that. So maybe it will happen, maybe it won't happen. I submitted it to the Mozilla dev room after I quit Mozilla, so I'm not sure exactly how they consider my talk, but the Mozilla dev room is really the most suitable one for such a topic, since it's so internet protocol related. It's either that or the main track, and I already proposed the DNS over HTTPS topic on the main track at FOSDEM. So I figured maybe not 2 talks on the main track. I don't think I would have that accepted anyway on the main track, so we'll see. If it's not accepted there, then yeah, then it's the curl up, I think. There will be some other opportunities too. As you can see, I'm going to Barcelona in September to talk about it, which is a long time away. But still, I'm sure that there will be a few other opportunities popping up, but these are the ones that I know about now and that I have accepted and I'm planning for. So that's about it for now. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do some emailing about the HTTP 0.9. I'm going to post a tweet out about HTTP 3 in French. I'm going to there were some other emails about some other problems, and emails are harder to show in the stream because I don't want to show you my entire email box and my work on email on the stream, because some of that might not be as public as the issue tracker things. So well, anyway, I plan to go to roughly around 11, and the time is now 7 minutes to 11 in the morning, and I have a new cup of coffee, so I'm going to switch off the stream for now. I'm not sure when I'm going to do the next one. Christmas is coming up, and I'm going traveling after Christmas, so yeah, I might do a few others. I might do Thursday, Friday, or something like that, if anyone thinks this is interesting, and if I have stuff that I can work on that is suitable for streaming. I'll figure out. I'll plan another one later today after I've worked through a couple of issues and see what happens to the existing ones, and if I get new ones. I'm sure there will be new ones. There's no end of issues and stuff. My wife tends to ask me sometimes if curl is never done, and the answer is then quite frankly that no, it's not. And right, I could also show you. Well, I'm putting together a little blog post about the curl year of 2018, and I just summarized things like how many commits have we done, how many commits have I done, and stuff like that over the year. And this year we actually have gone down slightly since last year in number of commits, almost 1100 commits so far. I've done a little over half of the commits. The National Sport of Canada and the National Software Library of Canada are curl. Well, actually the Swedish teams in curling tend to be really good. So during the Olympics and stuff, there's usually a lot of focus on the sport curl or curling in Sweden. So it's actually quite amusing to see. And I tend to collect I like to collect images and photos of stupid things that mentions curl. Well, not stupid things, but other things that mention curl. And one of my favorite books with that is the Curl to Win book, which is a book about curling. Well, when Norway is the best in curling, you could also say that sure, there are many countries that are best in curling. It depends on which year and which team and which championship, I guess. I know the Swedish women's team have been very successful in recent years, at least. But I've actually tried the sport curling twice. It's actually a really difficult sport, and it's a lot of sliding and gliding around on ice, and well, it's not my sport, but it's a fun of these to try it out at some point. So it's also fun to chat over whatever topic we can do. I don't have to be very strict about curl issues all the time, so it's fine. I'm going to shut up, and I'll schedule another stream probably tomorrow. See you. Bye.